All right, good morning, everyone. Futures Brizio here. It is Thursday, November 6th, 2025. Hope everybody's having a great week. And I haven't been feeling too great, so I've been not making a lot of recordings here the last couple of days. But plus, market's been fairly quiet this week so far. So there really just hasn't been a lot to talk about. But wanted to jump in today and just make a little update on some of these futures markets that I've continually looking at and talking about on this channel. So as always, make sure you smash that like button, subscribe, and any questions, comments, leave them down below. So we'll just jump right in here. So let's start off. This is soybean oil, and as I've been talking about with this market, obviously you can see it's been in a pretty steady downtrend here, just going out to the higher time frames. A pretty volatile market with a lot of big swings, but overall it's clearly trending down. If we drill down a little bit closer to in time frames, and I've talked about this on the last couple of videos, that back about 10, well, a couple of, let's see, what's the actual date on this? November 3rd. So back, a few trading days ago, we had this kind of big run up right here, which was very bullish. Didn't really break any major resistance areas here, but very bullish overall. And we came down, we failed to make a new low. And then we started kind of chopping here. And, I had this area kind of marked off as a potential management point here. And then yesterday, well, actually, this probably would have been maybe even overnight. Yeah, this is like London session overnight. We had this run up, and then, of course, the market closes for a little bit until it reopens for the North American session. But we had this run up here, which took out this high right here, which is a potential breakout. The soy complex, although as you'll see in a minute, soybean meal and soybeans themselves are struggling today. But this was a pretty interesting development as we apparently this looked like a good breakout here. Now I don't just trade the breakouts. I'll almost always will wait for a pullback. Now since that high was hit, what took out this high, you can see it's pulled back now, and it is trading back down. This is the 1 hour chart of December soybean oil, and you can see we're coming back down now. This is kind of the management point here, like I said. So as long as if price holds, anywhere above these lows, and we start to see some bullish action going higher, this might be, a turn for this thing to start going up. Now, if we, on the other hand, if we break through here and we just start taking out lows again, then this will just turn out to be, a pullback here, and this is a liquidity sweep to fool all the breakout traders to go along, but we're going to just continue to go down. So we've kind of got this, these two stories right now, between this. So let me just get rid of this arrow. It's just making a point about, a pullback and break higher. But so this is where we're kind of at with soybean oil inside this range. But again, just to notice that we did take out this high today, earlier today. And yes, we are pulling back quite a bit right now. But so let's see what happens. Any like strong bullish suggestion to start going higher here, I probably would consider longs, just because, again, from a seasonality standpoint, we should be seeing a little bit higher prices in soybean oil. Again, we don't have COT data, so we can't rely on that. But, from a technical standpoint, maybe seasonality, we'll see this start to turn. So I'll be watching it probably, well, I don't know. I'm not saying probably. We may not see that today. Again, these markets have very limited trading hours, these grain markets. So it tends to like happen pretty early in the session, and then, things just kind of peter out. So, but we'll see. I'll keep an eye on it. But anyways, this is probably the most bullish sign I've seen in this thing in a while. But to me, it's not proven yet. I mean, if this is a pullback and we're going to start going higher, this would be a fantastic buying opportunity, pretty low risk. because you just say, look, if it starts going higher from here, you put your stop loss, either below this low or below this red line, right at the, and if it gets through there, then that invalidates the trade anyways. But it would be overall a pretty low risk trade to take. So keeping an eye on that. So I mentioned soybeans. So soybeans tried to make a new high yesterday, and just came back to the previous high, and then pretty much today it's just been going lower. I did have a long on this that I took yesterday on this breakout. My stop was just below here. I was stopped out on that this morning, which is fine. It's a pretty tight stop loss. I could have, had this certainly further away, but I'm okay with that because, I start seeing these double top formations. Doesn't mean we're going to have a huge reversal or anything, but, clearly there's a little bit of buying fatigue in the market. You go to the 4-hour chart, not really much difference. I mean, you can see the double top here. So this is basically what soybean oil is doing. And if we look at soybean meal, same thing here. We did have this breakout. We've now come back right now. Let me just clean this chart up here. We've now come back to this previous breakout point right here. This is the last swing that led to this high up here. Again, we have that double top formation, same as what we have in soybeans. So again, I'm not ready to say, we're going to enter a bearish market on this. But, this is a little bit concerning for bulls here because of this. But it could just be, markets just taking a pause and that's it. I mean, there's been no major structure breaks of any kind. It's just, a little bit of this awareness that, the market failed to push and make a new high. But we did have this huge, pretty much unabated run up here in soybeans since about mid-October with no real pullback. These minor little pullbacks here on shorter time frames. But there's been no major pullback like this. This is the 4-hour time frame, in several weeks. So we're due for that anyways. So, let's see what happens. Certainly, again, not ready to throw in the towel on these markets as far as the bullish momentum goes. But we'll have to just wait and see. So for now, I'm just on the sideline. And so that's the same with soybean oil, soybean meal. But, any strong bullish momentum back to the upside is probably going to pull the bulls and the buyers back in again. So we'll see. All right. So on to just talk about British pound really quick. So we zoom out a little bit. Clearly in a downtrend, and we've had this nice pullback right here, and you can see the highs peaked out, came back to what was previously kind of support over here, now acting as resistance, and so this is potentially really anywhere from where it is now, even if it comes up further, even if it comes back up like to this area, as a potential selling point, selling area, and I would say as long as we stay like under this area, like this, to me, this is kind of like the area I'd keep an eye on. But as long as price stays under here, then these are still potential selling opportunities. Not right now. So I do have a pending order, sell stop on my funded account. It has not been triggered because I'd like to see it follow through a little bit. If we jump down to a 15-minute time frame, we do have some potential liquidity zones here. Price came down, kind of reacted off here, tried to go higher, and this is where we sit as of right now. And so I'm basically seeing, if we take out this little 15-minute low right here, then to me that would be enough to take a short. And again, just put a stop, above this way. It doesn't even need to be up here because, again, if it turns and starts going higher, from there, you go short and then it comes and breaks, takes out this swing, this lower high. That basically invalidates it, at least in the short term. It still doesn't mean that eventually it won't turn and come back down, but it just means it's not ready to do that yet, and it's got more upside to go, and I'm not going to sit through a bunch of drawdowns. So I'm not in a trade right now, but this is an area that I'm watching. because again, if you look at the higher time frames, this is a nice looking pullback if it follows through back to the downside. And as long as price, remains below essentially all of these, this congestion area up here, then it's still bearish. So we had kind of the same setup in Australian dollar, which has moved lower. This one's to me is not as desirable, only because if you just look at the chart, especially looking to the left, there's a lot of retesting of all these lows back here, and I just felt like there's more downside potential on the British pound to let this fall cleanly, at least back down to these previous lows. And on the higher time frame, there are no recent lows to the left that it can get caught up in. So, I this one is just they're similar setups, but this one looks better to me. So this is the one I'm waiting to see what happens and if we get any follow through. I don't know if it'll happen today or not, but we'll see. So yeah, so we looked at soybeans, soy oil, and soy meal all being pretty much in the same pretty substantial pullbacks. Don't know if we're at a turning point back to the downside or not. From a seasonality standpoint, we should be going higher, but it doesn't mean within that seasonality pattern you're not going to have times when price is going to pull back. I mean, it has to. There's profit taking or some news that comes out that just temporarily puts selling pressure on the market. So whether these are setting up for new buying opportunities or not, I don't know. We'll have to see. But that's, for now, I'm just kind of standing aside and watching these. So nothing new to report on hogs. Still just, the market really is not doing much. As I mentioned, from a seasonality standpoint, once we get into like mid-November, the seasonality data shows at least a short-term rally. And you can see we are having trouble going lower here. This is a 4-hour chart. And again, these are Heikin-Ashi candles, but you can see, at least the last couple of trading sessions, market really has not been able to punch a lot lower. It tries and then just gets held up. So is that kind of the setup for, a potential move higher? Here's the 1-hour chart. You can see how we have a lot of overlapping stuff to the downside. You could certainly draw a trend line across here. I'm not a big trend line believer, but, we're holding the trend line certainly, but it's not, these moves to the downside are getting a little bit shorter and shorter each time. And you can see today so far it has not been able to make a new low on today's prices. So anyway, so we'll see. Again, just on the watch list, but not taking any action on this. And corn continues just to be in the range. Again, 4-hour chart here, just continues to be a lot of noise in corn, not really making any progress, just trying to trading up and down. It is making, essentially higher lows right here, but it's still well within the range, and it's still just very overlapping and choppy price action, and it's not making any progress of breaking out of this range at all. It's just, it's holding all these highs. Although it is making, higher lows, so that is something to note. But again, it's still well within this range, so I think as corn goes and soybeans all probably go the same way. And, we'll see if we can eventually pop this thing back higher again. But as long as it's stuck inside this noise and this range here, I'm not really too interested. So not doing anything with corn right now. And then lastly, this is crude oil. And we've been watching this range on crude oil. Basically, since we made this big run up and then price came down, just entered back into a range. It looks, as of right now anyways, we are breaking out of that range to the downside. We've had this candle here. So I would like to see, maybe some little pullback. And then if we're going to continue to go short here, long term, it is still in a downtrend technically. We had this really strong rally up here, and price failed to take out, this swing here. So let's see what happens on crude oil. If we get a continuation here, like I said, in small pullback and then potentially move to the downside. There is always the potential that this is just, a bit of a liquidity grab to, again, to fool breakout traders. And we have this thing snap back into the range. If we get like a really strong bullish push back into the range, that would be a little concerning if I was short, but I'm not in anything right now on this. So let's see if we get continuation on the downside, or if this is just going to be a sweep and then move higher again and continue this uptrend, that this bullish move here. Okay, I don't know what it's doing yet. We'll have to wait and see. So I know that's kind of the theme, wait and see. But sometimes what you have to do is just sit on your hands if there's nothing obvious to do right now. And again, a lot of it's just dependent on what time frames you're looking at. I mean, obviously, if you're a scalper or a short-term day trader, you're looking at much shorter time frames, and there are trades certainly within these candles on short time frames. But again, to me, that's just not where I trade anymore. I'm looking for either long day trades, something I'll hold at least a day, and more likely, some sort of swing trades, where I can at least hold them for a couple of days, and just, move towards resistance or support areas, as targets. So, that's what I'm waiting for. That's where, most of my best trades come in. But clearly on crude oil, this is a 15-minute chart. We have seen an aggressive move down, but, again, I don't try to catch a falling knife. Eventually we'll see a pullback, whether it comes back up to this line and then moves down or not. But, I'll wait for some sort of pullback like this one, a moderate sized pullback, and then see if that sets up for another short position. So that's where I'm at with crude oil. It's definitely on my watch list, but there's no action I'm taking on it right now. And I'm just continuously going back and looking at this British pound trade to see if this thing starts to move down. So anyways, I'm going to leave it there. Short and sweet today. Nothing really too exciting going on right now. Just watching to, with the grains to see if we're just in a pause phase, and we'll potentially get some buying opportunities to come back. British pound, potentially looking at, an area where another sell could be setting up. And oil, if we get follow through on the selling, then we'll look for a pullback and a short on that. So, all right, so that's where I'm at. Hope you guys are having a great day. Any questions, comments, leave them down below. Make sure you smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and we'll talk to everybody soon. Okay, thanks.